Welcome to the Fourth and Fierce fan cast, football talk fierce and unfiltered. My name is MJ. Before we get started, I want to thank each and every one of you who clicked on this video to I really appreciate you so much. I love football and I love talking about it, and I love interacting with others who take the time to do that. So anytime you take the opportunity or time to log on to YouTube or Spotify, listen or watch one of my videos, like it, share it, subscribe to my channel so we can talk football together. I'm more than grateful. I love this, and I'm very happy to have each and every one of you. If you'd like to interact with me, you can certainly email me at fourthandfierce@gmail.com. That's the number 4, THANDFIERCE. If you want to leave comments about the show, suggestions and critiques about the show, I'm open for all of that. If you want to just say hi, if you want to debate a topic, I'm here for that. Now, I know I look a mess today. It's really hot here where I live. It's like 90 degrees. I look like a disaster. I'm looking at my eyebrows here, but, got to go ahead and make sure I get my videos out regardless of how crazy I look. Because it's not about me. It's not about how I look. It's about talking to you guys. It's about talking about the game we love and things that are going on right now. So let's just dive right in. So this week we have the first week of training camp has just been completed. It started last week, if I'm not mistaken, where everyone had to report. Some of the big news out of training camp last week was Justin Fields' injury. So I was watching live when Justin Fields went down on the field, and I was shocked. I couldn't believe it. I didn't know what happened. He hobbled off the field, and then on the sideline he was carried off, and then panic. We all panicked. It's come to our attention from head coach Aaron Glenn, former Detroit Lions defensive coordinator. I love Aaron Glenn. I hope he does great with the Jets. That this is a sprained toe, no break. So it looks like he should be ready to go for game 1 against the Pittsburgh Steelers. I'm looking forward to that game. I like Justin Fields. So this game it looks really interesting to me for a number of reasons. 1, I want to see what Aaron Rodgers can do. 2, Justin Fields did play for Pittsburgh last year, and they didn't really utilize him. And I feel like his story is kind of I don't want to say tragic, but it's so upsetting. He went to Chicago, was drafted there, highly, anticipated him being a great QB there. And I think he did really well considering everything that happened when he was in Chicago. The coaching changes, the offensive coordinator changes, like all the drama he had when he was in Chicago, and then he gets traded to Pittsburgh and he doesn't even get to play. We rarely got to see Justin on the field because it was Russell Wilson's team. So I thought this was a great opportunity for us to see what he can do, and I really think he can be good. I think he can be an excellent quarterback. I think he has the skill set, he has the potential. He just needed someone to kind of, build around him, support him in what he needed. That's how I'm looking at it. And I love Aaron Glenn. I think Aaron Glenn is he was a great defensive coordinator here for Detroit. I mean, I love Aaron Glenn. I always knew he would leave and go to the Jets. He's a Jet. So, I'm not really shocked that he decided to take a head coaching opportunity there. And I'm happy for him. And I really hope he does well over there. I'm not going to talk about Ben Johnson because it's a whole other issue. We'll do that on another show for another day. But kudos and good luck to Justin Fields and the Jets. I hope he is able to play week 1. I'm very interested to see that. If he's not, Tyrod Taylor's there. He's the backup. He's an excellent backup. Has a great skill set. He's been a veteran, and they have similar styles. So the offense wouldn't have to change too much. But good luck to everyone involved there. Next up is the Buffalo Bills. Now, Buffalo Bills are going to be on Hard Knocks this year. I like Hard Knocks. If you're a fan, like I said, I'm a fanatic. This is a fan cast. This is what I do. I really love Hard Knocks, and I always watch it. I usually watch it late, though. I always record it or go back and watch it on like HBO or NFL Films because I really like Hard Knocks. It's a interesting look at training camp. It's fun. So this year we have Buffalo Bills, and I'm interested to see Josh Allen. I think Josh Allen is camera ready. I think he's great for the camera. He's a nice looking young man. I want to see a bit more of his personality, so I'm interested to see that. But Keon Coleman, I like Keon Coleman. Now, I'm not going to hold against him that he went to Michigan State. I'm a U of M girly. Like I said, I'm on this side of the state. But I really do like Keon Coleman. He's always been very interesting. He's a person who says what he feels what he says. He doesn't hold anything back. He's very charismatic. He makes you want to listen to him. I really like him. And I'm interested to see the Josh Allen and Keon Coleman connection really evolve in 2025. I think that he was not the number one wide receiver there last year. They had Diggs. So he wasn't like the target. And even with him not being the number one receiver, I think he did really, really well. He had, I think, let me see, 29 receptions, 556 yards, 4 touchdowns. And I want to say he averaged close to 20 yards per reception. If I'm wrong, please tell me, put it in the comments, whatever. But I think that's kind of where he was. But he did great. I mean, he did, for a rookie who wasn't the number one target, I think he had a really good year. And I'm really looking to see him develop into that target for Josh Allen. And I think this will help get them over the hump a little bit too. Not that Diggs wasn't an excellent wide receiver, because he is. But I want Keon Coleman to really, I want to see what this connection can bring. I like a good quarterback wide receiver combo. You know, I love Peyton and Marvin Harrison. I like Peyton and Reggie Wayne. You know, I like these types of connections, because these are the things that kind of will help get you over that hump, so to speak. Plus, Keon Coleman's, I think, is a fantastic personality. He's great for the league. He's great for the Bills. I think this is going to be a great opportunity for him to really get in and show what he can do. And we get to see a bit of his personality on Hard Knocks. And I love Hard Knocks. So, you know, guys, make sure you go ahead and check that out. That's going to be a good time and a fun thing to watch. Next in the news was the NFL collusion. Now, this is a lot. So, back in 2022, the NFLPA filed a collusion case against the NFL team owners, stating that they colluded or conspired to not offer guaranteed contracts to quarterbacks following the Cleveland Browns record-breaking $230 million fully guaranteed contract to Deshaun Watson. With that case, it's very difficult to prove something like collusion, because you have to go in and say you purposely went in and told everyone not to do this. And there's going to need to be some pretty harsh evidence. The case, I believe the arbitrator's name was Christopher Dowey. I'm not sure. Correct me if I'm wrong. But the arbitrator said he did not see enough evidence to warrant collusion. He did indicate that they were not advised, so to speak, more, it was suggested that they don't offer quarterbacks a fully guaranteed contract by the owners. I think that was his findings, that they discussed it, but they didn't say, hey, don't do this, because if we're not going to do this. It wasn't a conspiracy, so to speak. But when you look at the evidence as what happened right after Deshaun Watson, it gets kind of muddy, because you think about the 3 quarterbacks who had contracts coming up right after Deshaun Watson. You had Kyler Murray, Russell Wilson, and Lamar Jackson. And the Lamar Jackson one is very, very interesting to me, mostly because the Lamar Jackson one, he was negotiating with Baltimore, and I don't think he wants to leave Baltimore. And Baltimore, during negotiations, had broke down. They didn't like the numbers, didn't like the years, didn't like the guaranteed money. The negotiations got a little heated, as they do. The team told him he could go out and, if another team offers him something, they could match it. And the part that really gets me is nobody really offered him anything. And this is Lamar Jackson. No one offered Lamar Jackson? I mean, think about this. He's top 5 QB in the league. He really is. There were teams that needed a quarterback and no one offered him anything. That is kind of where it gets a little muddy when you think about that, because how could you not offer Lamar Jackson anything? Like, are you serious? So that's a pretty big piece of evidence, in my opinion. But they eventually worked it out. He signed the contract that both parties agreed upon, and he played well, as he always does. But it did look a little, fishy. So that is kind of where we are. So the NFL has the NFLPA they're arguing that they're going to reopen the case. They're trying to get the case, get the case back on. And when you're looking at it, it does appear that something had to be said. Now, if it was suggested in that team meeting that they do not offer fully guaranteed contracts, I get it. You can suggest it, but you shouldn't sit together and make someone not do it. You know what I'm saying? Like, if you do this, we'll shun you, or whatever the case may be. I don't know. I wasn't there. But I will it's really hot where I'm at, guys. I'm sorry. I will say this, and this is just, again, this is my opinion. This is a fan cast. If you feel free to disagree, that's fine. This is a very difficult sport to play. Football is not for the faint of heart. This is a sport that someone is running at you with all of their weight and all their muscle, trying to knock you out. That's a real thing. And this is the one sport that they have the fewest guaranteed contracts. It just bothers me. Baseball has guaranteed contracts and they get ridiculous money. NFL, same thing. I'm sorry, NBA, same thing. Ridiculous contracts. But the contracts they're offering in, like, say, the NFL and hockey, they just don't fit to me. It just feels like this is a sport where people are it's violent. And I'm a fan. Don't get me wrong, I like it. I think the NFL does a good job at player safety. I think player safety is very important to the league, and I think they do a very good job at that. But they're not paying them. I don't think they're paying them well. I've never have. For what they're doing and the amount of money that the players bring in to the league, they should be getting more guaranteed money. Just the media money alone. And again, I'm not saying billionaires shouldn't be. These guys are rich. Like, these guys have money, and I understand these rosters are massive, and that, you have to take care of everyone. You have full staff, you have to facilities and all these things. I completely understand all of that. My husband's a business owner. I get that it's a difficult thing to do, but I don't think it's a difficult thing to do to pay people that are bringing this in, because without these players on the field giving it their all every day, putting everything into this, you would not be where you are. And I think they deserve a little bit more. I honestly do. I think there should be more guaranteed money in the in the NFL, because they deserve it. They do. They don't take games off. They don't. And I'm not knocking any other sport, but the NFL don't take games. You can't. There's only 17 of them. I mean, some teams do it at the end of the season when they wrap everything up. I don't agree with that either, but I'm not. We'll debate that another day. But they give it their all. Every single game counts in the NFL. One game can change everything. Think about Detroit and Minnesota at the final game of 2024 season. Both teams have identical records, which means you had to grind to get there. One team, the winner of that game, got a bye and the number 1 seed. The loser of that game had to travel and play somewhere else, and they managed to win 14 games. Think about that. Think about how one game changes everything in the NFL. In a way, it doesn't do that in any other sport, because you're so limited in what you can do. And this is why I feel, and I have always felt, and I will never stop advocating for more guaranteed contracts for NFL players, from the smallest to the biggest. There's enough money for everybody. The amount of money that the NFL brings in is insane. And I'm not saying they don't have good contracts. They do. But when you think about what they're doing, and a lot of players that don't get the 10, 20-year we talk about the big names. We talk about the Peytons and the Russells and the Bradys, and they get the money. But we don't talk about the little guys who play in the league. I know people personally who have played in the league, and they didn't make a lot of money. All you're really guaranteed is that signing bonus. Everything else is performance based. And again, I don't disagree with performance based, because if you don't perform, you don't get paid. But one hit, one hit can change your entire life. So I think there should be more things in place for player protection in a financial sense and a money sense. And that's not to say that they shouldn't take care of the money that they're getting, because they all should. But I feel like the league should get better with giving that money out to them. We're going to take a quick break, guys, and we'll be right back to discuss the top 5 for Hall of Fame week. And we're back. Welcome back to the Fourth and Fierce podcast. So, in honor of the NFL Hall of Fame game, which will be this Thursday, the 31st of July, my good friend Gina's birthday, not to mention my Lions are playing the LA Chargers. So, in honor of that, I want to give you my top 5 NFL speeches, Hall of Fame speeches of all time. I would love to hear yours. Like I said, please feel free to email me at fourthandfierce@gmail.com. That's the number 4, THANDFIERCE@gmail.com to tell me your top 5, or put them in the comments and chats. I'll definitely talk to you guys. So yeah, let's get started. Number 5, John Elway. I love John Elway. He was inducted in 2004, and I remember this very distinctly because that's the year the Pistons won their last championship with Ben Wallace and Rasheed Wallace and Chauncey Billups and all them. Like I said, I'm not a big NBA fan, but I know my NBA. So that was a great year. And not to mention, my only daughter was born that year. My baby girl, my only daughter. I have sons who was born that year. And I remember the speech for 2 reasons. One, how he talked about his father. John Elway's father was not around when he was inducted in the Hall of Fame. He had gone on. And he talked about how important his father was to him and the relationship they had. And it stuck out to me because my dad had come to visit me to meet his granddaughter, who was about 6 months old at the time. And I remember watching that speech with him. He was inducted with Barry Sanders, and that's one of the main reasons we watched it, because I don't watch all of them, but I try to catch the ones where all the players that I really loved. And I remember Barry Sanders was inducted with John Elway. Barry's my favorite running back of all time, and I will argue to the ground. There's nobody better. I remember sitting with my dad, getting to know his granddaughter, watching that speech and talking about the importance of family and the importance of football and the importance of togetherness. And it really resonated with me how he spoke about that. And then having my dad there with my daughter. That really was one of my favorite speeches. My father's no longer with me. He's been gone, be 10 years in September. And honestly, it feels like it just happened a week ago. But I remember that. That's one of my best and favorite memories with my dad. And also watching a Hall of Fame speech, football. Me and my dad used to watch football together all the time. That was kind of that was our thing. My dad was a huge sports fan. He would watch anything. He'd bass fishing. He'll watch it all. I couldn't get into everything, but I did get into what he calls the big 4. Baseball, not so much. It's kind of my least favorite, but I love football. I mean, I have a whole podcast dedicated to it. I like the NBA and I love hockey. So I like those 3. They're just good. They're just whatever. In any event, John Elway is my number 5 speech. Number 4. My number 4 Hall of Fame speech of all time is Cris Carter. Cris Carter retired in 2002. Cris Carter is probably one of the best wide receivers I have ever seen in my life. And the very fact that he didn't get into the Hall of Fame until 2013 is crazy. He was eligible in 2007, I'm sure. 2002? Yeah, 2007 he was eligible. And the fact that he didn't get it is crazy. You had to be there. Like, I'm sorry, my neighbor has chickens, if you hear them. I cannot explain to you what Cris Carter looked like. You had to be there. The highlights don't really do it justice. he was making the most amazing catches in the game. He had great hands. All he does is catch touchdowns. Like that's what his name was. Like Chris Carter was one of the best wide receivers I had ever seen, and he overcame adversity to get there. In his speech, and this is what I remember about it, he talked about Buddy Ryan. He was drafted by the Eagles, but most people remember him as playing in Minnesota. He was drafted by the Eagles, and he was cut by Buddy Ryan. And he talked about how Buddy Ryan's wife had told him, don't cut Chris Carter, and he did anyway. And it turned out to be the best thing for his career and his life. And that's something that I distinctively remember about Chris Carter's induction in the Hall of Fame and that speech and how he talked about overcoming adversity. Sometimes you're let go from things or fired from things or walk away from things, and it feels like the end of the world. You can always turn that into something positive. Not only that, you can always also step into what you're called to do. Sometimes these opportunities sometimes when you're let go of something or you walk away from something, it's not about, it's more about you and what you're supposed to be doing and what you're supposed to be stepping into. It's not always I wasn't good enough. It wasn't always this wasn't for me. It's more it's more of a higher power, whether it's God, the universe, spirit, whatever you believe in. It's more of something telling you, I've been trying to tell you this is what you need to do. You're not listening. So now I have to really show you. And some people are going to take that and turn it into something positive and great and wonderful like Chris Carter. And some people aren't. I really hope everybody takes these things, adversity or challenges in their lives, as an opportunity to step into, spend some time alone, talk to, spend some time in that dark room, spend some time, with a therapist, spend some time in a journal, with a journal, or whatever helps you get to where you need to be. Because I feel like everything that's out of your life or taken from your life or walks away from your life is an opportunity for you to learn something more about you. So Chris Carter is my number 4 Hall of Fame speech of all time. My number 3 Hall of Fame speech of all time is Michael Strahan. Michael Strahan is funny. Michael Strahan is so funny to me. Excuse me. Michael Strahan is a character. He was a character on the field. I remember him in the Super Bowl against Baltimore. I want to say in 2000 when they lost to Baltimore. The Giants lost to Baltimore. They were going to lose. That defense was crazy good. But I remember distinctively how dejected he looked at the end of that game. And his Hall of Fame speech, a couple things stood out to me. He's charismatic. His personality. I'm sorry, I'm getting over this cold. His charismatic, his personality, and how he talked about his siblings. He's the youngest of 6. And he talked about how his siblings called him Bob, which stood for booty on back. I don't know why that stuck out of my head. It was just funny to me. Michael Strahan has an amazing comedic career. He did win a Super Bowl. My favorite Super Bowl, my number 1 Super Bowl of all time, without question, is I will never get over that Eli Manning, David Tyree. That was fantastic. I was so happy. I don't even want to talk about it. I was so happy. Only people that were happier than me, other than New York fans, were Miami Dolphins fans, because they didn't want to give up their being the only team to go undefeated for an entire season. But I celebrated that Super Bowl for years. I loved it. But in any event, it was really great to see him finally win, and he retired on a win. And he has such a remarkable media career. But in his speech, he talked about how football was, not even something that was on his radar until he was much older. He was a military child. So he didn't really think about football until way later in his life. And that stuck out to me because sometimes we think, oh, it's too late to start. It's too late to do this. It's too late. It's never too late. It's never too late. I'm almost 50 years old, and here I am sitting here talking about football with you guys. I've had careers, I've had children, I have grandchildren, I have all of this, but I'm sitting here right now because this is something I love and this is something I want to do, and I want to put effort and time and energy into it. And I feel like Michael Strahan is one of those types of players and people. And he talked about how he jumped into football later in his life and it turned his life around. And look at him now. He had an amazing career. He has an amazing media career. He's doing fantastic in his life. I'm very, very, uh, Michael Strahan is one of my favorite players of all time. And that speech really stuck out to me. So that was my number 3 Hall of Fame speech of all time. Number 2. My number 2 Hall of Fame speech of all time is Deion Sanders. Deion Sanders, whether you like him or not, is special. He has something. You can call it an anointing by God. You can call it he's manifesting. He has a great manifestation ability. You can call it whatever you want. Whatever he has, you can't deny it. He's a very charismatic person. He knows who he is. He knows his worth. He knows his value. He knows his ability. And he's not afraid to tell you that. And a lot of people, some people feel like he should be humble, and I don't think so. If you know this is who and what you are, and you put in the work, and you have the belief, and whatever power, whatever brings you the power, if it's God and if it's the universe, spirit guides, whatever it is, he really embodies that, and he speaks it, and he lives it. And he doesn't let anyone tell him who he is. He knows who he is. And I love that about him. I love the fact that he always steps out on faith in everything that he does. He knows him. And one thing I do remember distinctively about his speech is him talking about him not tackling. Now that's funny to me because he's known for that. Now, that's my favorite position is safety or DB, cornerbacks, because those are the players to me that hit. They do the hitting. And that's my favorite position. I'm just saying. So when I go back and look at those, revisit those games in my memory, in my mind, I remember Deion Sanders is not, he wasn't Rod Woodson. And I love me some Rod. Love me some Rod Woodson. He was not going to hit you. He was more of a cover guy, but he was the best. There was nobody better. There's never been anybody better. I don't even know if there'll ever be anybody better, but he was the best. What Deion Sanders brought to the table and what he was able to do on the field was remarkable. But in his speech, he talked about people saying he didn't tackle, and it bothered him because he was a man. And he said, and I'm maybe quoting here, but you guys can go back and look. He said, I do tackle. I've tackled every bill my mama has given me since 1989 and ain't missed one yet. And I just thought I never forgot that. It just stuck in my mind. And the way he talked about crime, the way he broke crime down, the way he talked about his children, his family, his mother. Like Deion Sanders is you may not like him, but this is a person who has what I always call the light. It's in him, and he's not afraid to show you he has it. So Deion Sanders is my number 2 Hall of Fame speech of all time. My number 1 Hall of Fame speech of all time is Shannon Sharpe. Now listen, Shannon Sharpe has been through some stuff in the media right now. Like he really has. I don't call him Unc because he's not that much older than me. But Shannon Sharpe has been through some stuff in the last few years. His media. This is not about his media persona, his media career. This is simply about his Hall of Fame NFL career and that speech. That speech moved me. The way he talked about not being the best player in his family, the way he talked about Sterling Sharpe, and I was around for Sterling Sharpe. I was around for Sterling Sharpe and Brett Favre, I want to say 88, 89, because Brett Favre came from Atlanta and came to Green Bay. And Sterling Sharpe was the best wide receiver, hands down. And you have to think of who else was playing then. You had Michael Irvin coming into the league then. You had the Andre Reeds. You had great wide receivers. But Sterling Sharpe was right up there with them. He was the best. I know you can go back and watch the highlights. You can watch them on YouTube. You can, Google them, whatever. But if you had to be there, you had to look at what was happening in the league at that time. We were still I'm still very much a defensive girl, but we were very defensive minded at that time. It was a lot of ground and pound, a lot of running, things like that. Running game was king during the 80s and early 90s. And to have a player like Sterling Sharpe, what he was able to do, he was very physical. He used to run through the middle of the field, which wide receivers don't really do that now. You used to the old bang eight, where they run up the field and they would get hit and they would take hits. And he was fantastic. He was one of the best wide receivers I've ever seen. Take the time and look it up. He was great. But the thing about Sterling Sharp is his career was cut short. I think he only had 6 or 7 years in the league due to an injury. And I don't think that should have hindered his ability to make it to the league, because for what he was and the time that he was here, he was great. And his brother has done nothing. Shannon did nothing but advocate for him and talk about what his brother meant to him. He also talked about his grandparents and what his grandparents meant to him. And growing up in a shack where it rained in the house, and all his grandmother wanted was a house that it didn't rain in. Like that type of stuff moves me. That was his motivation to be the best he could be, because he wanted to be like his brother, and he wanted to get his grandparents out of that shack and into a house that didn't rain in. The fact that she wanted something that simple. She didn't want diamonds and furs and jewelry. She wanted to live in a house that did not leak. And some of us are complaining about just stuff. And I'm not saying that you can't, because you're entitled to feel however you want to feel. But sometimes it's about perspective. Taking a look at your life. So many people focus on what we don't have, and we don't take the time and opportunity to look at what we do have. You could have complained about living in that shack and going to an outhouse to go to the bathroom and having to cover your bed with a burlap sack or waterproof. He could have complained about that, but he didn't. He just said, I'm going to make this better for all of us. And that really resonated with me. And it really is a great mindset to have. And I know it's not easy. And again, sometimes it takes looking at someone else's struggle or life or what they've overcome to say, hey, you know what? I can get out here and do this. If they can get up every day and do it, then I can get up every day and do it. My dad used to say, you've never seen a crackhead say, I'm not getting crack today. I'm getting it. Get whatever you get out here, focus on you. If you have an ability, if you have a talent, if you have a skill, if it's something that you're passionate about, if you're passionate about nursing, if you're passionate about podcasting, if you're passionate about art, if you're passionate about helping children, whatever you're passionate about, just start it. Just the mustard seed. I always talk about them. Just start it. Don't give up. Put your effort, your time, and energy, because everything you ever accomplished or had in your life, you put effort into. And nothing is going to move until you take your foot and start moving it. So those are my top 5 NFL Hall of Fame speeches for the current 2025 season. We're getting started with some football coming up here. Like I said, Thursday we're going to have our Hall of Fame game. Next week we may talk about that depending on what happens. I want to thank each and every one of you who took the time to click on this video. Please like, share, subscribe to the channel. It doesn't hurt to do so. If you have a channel or if you're starting something, I don't care what it is. If it's a podcast, if it's video, if it's audio, no matter what you're doing, even if it's a charitable something, please reach out to me at fourthandfierce@gmail.com. There's enough for everyone. It's 8 billion people in the world. There's enough for all of us to succeed in something that we feel passionate about, and I want to help others too. So this is not just about me. So yeah, please feel free to reach out to me. Like I said, this has been the Fourth and Fierce podcast, football talk, fierce and unfiltered. I thank all of you for talking to me this week, and I can't wait till we talk about some more football next week. In any event, enjoy your day.